Hello everybody, welcome back to a video and happy Thanksgiving. Today I'm going to be ranking the 15 best Doctor Who stories. I did a behind the scenes series covering this. I did make one change to it and I'll get to what that is later on. The final part of that series will go live on the same day as the Star Beast, which will be the first of the 3 Tennant specials for the 60th. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 15, Bad Wolf, The Parting of the Ways. This is a fantastic story and a great regeneration story. So we're beginning with an ending. Absolutely incredible. I think this is one of the biggest scale Dalek stories. Maybe Eccleston's best performance at all. He's absolutely incredible in this story. Particularly the parting of the ways. It might be the best standoff any Doctor, because unlike Tennant, who wanted to live, Eccleston knows he ain't going to make it out of this one alive and is determined to bring down the Daleks. This might be the ultimate instance of the Doctor willing to lay down everything to defeat an enemy. Why is it this low? Bad Wolf. The Parting of the Ways is an incredible episode, but the first part of this two-parter, Bad Wolf, is it's not great. It definitely is not great. So yeah, I mean, The Parting of the Ways is incredible, but I can't have it any higher because I don't like the first half of the story as much. All right, number 14 is The Husbands of River Song. The only Christmas special on my list. It's a fantastic Christmas special. It has comedy in spades and a really great performance from Capaldi and Alex Kingston as the Doctor and River Song. They're a great pairing. I think that this is definitely the best River episode. It's just a fun episode, particularly the Doctor's over-the-top TARDIS reaction is a definite highlight of the story. So yeah, number 13, The Mind of Evil, which I happen to have in this incredible Season 8 box set. The Mind of Evil is a fantastic story and the first of a few appearances of the Master on this list, and not the only Pertwee. An absolutely incredible story it's a simple one. The Master hijacks a missile with the intent of starting World War III, and then he'll take over the world. So it literally is a Doctor Who interpretation of Thunderball. But it's incredible. I mean, this is definitely a great story. Also combine that with the Master creating this machine to feed off of the evil thoughts of prisoners, and she has some really interesting ideas and great things. Why is the story so low? Honestly, personal preference. I just like the top 12 more. So, yeah. Number 12, another story that I happen to have thanks to an incredible Blu-ray set. Human Nature, The Family of Blood. The only David Tennant story on this list. And yeah, I just realized now, it's ironic that my favorite 10th Doctor story doesn't really have the 10th Doctor. It's weird, but I think this is Tennant's best performance. He is absolutely incredible in this one. And for one-off films, The Family of Blood's actually really interesting. And, I mean, they don't have the most interesting motives, but the fact that their motives are so simple. They want the Doctor's regenerations. They want to live the lives of Time Lords. It's just a different concept than what we've seen from other villains. So yeah, I think that every actor in this one is really good, but the highlight is definitely Tennant with his incredible performance. Number 11 is the only story on this list that can't be bought on DVD. You have to buy it on CD, and that's because there's only audio for it, and that is The Massacre. I watched the loose cannon reconstruction of this story because I heard that this was the one that really had no shot at getting animated. It's incredible. Again, what is it with me having the best story for a Doctor, but yet that Doctor is hardly in it? This is my favorite story of the Hartnell era, and it's just fantastic. I mean, it focuses on the character of Stephen Taylor, who doesn't really get that much attention from what I've seen him in, but he is incredible in this one. That final episode is, I think, if it existed, could be the singular best episode of the Hartnell era, hands down. It's just such a great story, and you get a great villain performance from Hartnell because he plays the villain of this one, which is the first time that would happen. It's happened a few other times in the show, most notably Patrick Troughton playing Salamander in The Enemy of the World, but this is the one that did it first. A great performance from all accounts, and a fantastic speech by Hartnell that honestly could be the show's best moment if it existed, at least of Hartnell's era, because the way he delivers it is on par with his iconic "One Day I Shall Come Back" speech from the Daleks' invasion of Earth. So definitely a great story, and one I really want to get recovered or at least animated. So we're moving on to another story in the missing count, but only missing 2 of its pretty long runtime, because number 10 is The Invasion. This is the one that I switched out. Originally this list had The Haunting of Villa Diodati, which I'd say is number 16. I was really torn. And in that video I had Villa on here, but I decided to switch it out for The Invasion. A great story, iconic imagery, just great. This is the ultimate Cybermen story, and the first story to get animated as well. That doesn't really affect anything. The Invasion is incredible. It's 8 episodes long. It's one of those stories that it sounds ridiculously long on paper, but it earns its runtime. It's really great. For a 60s budget as well, it's incredible. This and The Web of Fear were experiments to see if a Earthbound Doctor Who, well, just Doctor Who era in general could work. And from this, they launched the Pertwee era. Number 9, Remembrance of the Daleks. I was really torn between putting this one or The Curse of Fenric on the list. I knew I wanted to have a McCoy story. I couldn't pick both. Fenric is number 17, but Remembrance, that's incredible. Definitely a great, Fenric is 16 and Villa is 17, or something along those lines. But Remembrance of the Daleks is incredible. It features, honestly, if you don't know about who the real mastermind behind the Imperial Daleks is, it's a great twist, and it features my favorite 7th Doctor moment. Well, one of them anyway. My 2 favorite 7th Doctor moments are actually from the 2 stories that were in the running. Because the second best is the cliffhanger for Curse of Fenric episode 3. A great cliffhanger, I'm not going to spoil what that is. But my favorite 7th Doctor moment comes from Remembrance, and that's when he's confronting Davros. And you get the line, "Conquer the galaxy, crush the lesser races, unlimited rice pudding." It's just, McCoy is delivering that in such a great way. So it's a great performance from McCoy. It's the true best parts of the comedic side of 7 and the darker scheming side. 25 is that perfect balance for McCoy. 24 is the full-on jokester. This is the middle ground. 7 is full dark scheming. But ultimately, 25, perfect. And Remembrance is the perfect example of this. Number 8, Vincent and the Doctor. Wow, an incredible story. The best Matt Smith era episode, hands down, no competition. He crushes it in this episode, focusing on focusing on the greatest painter who ever lived. That's the story's own opinion, but that's also an opinion I share. I think Vincent van Gogh was a fantastic painter. And when you look into Van Gogh's life, you see that this episode actually handles it in a very sensitive way. And it's a great story as well. And side fact, the clip of Vincent van Gogh seeing his legacy is the most viewed video on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. Doesn't really impact anything. I just thought it was a cool fact. It's truly an incredible story. But I would rather watch the top 7. Number 7. Okay, this one's controversial because this was the one that was just voted the best Doctor Who story of all time. Heaven Sent. Heaven Sent is fantastic, and I think it's incredible. But I do have personal preferences towards the top 6. In terms of, is it the best episode and not personal favorites? Yeah, it's probably top 3. But Heaven Sent is a fantastic episode. And honestly, while I don't agree with it being number 1, I do agree with it being on the list. So, yeah. Number 6, Pyramids of Mars, which I happen to own, and this fantastic Doctor Who, The Doctor's Revisited DVD set. Pyramids of Mars is just it's just a fun story. It's a lot of fun. Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen, top of their game. It's a lot of fun. And also a villain that nowadays would be a finale level villain in Sutek. I mean, seriously, how is this villain near the beginning of the season? Or beginning to middle of the season? This would now be a finale. So the fact this was just thrown into the season is truly incredible. It's got some great moments, and just one of the few times we see the Doctor legitimately afraid. So, yeah, obviously, I love Pyramids of Mars. It's a great story. But ultimately, just missed the top 5. Number 5, probably one a lot of people wouldn't think about putting in their top 5. Terror of the Autons. The introduction to the Master and Joe Grant. And the return of the Autons as well. An absolutely incredible story. I really love Terror of the Autons. And, I mean, yeah, it's the introduction of my favorite villain, the Master. But it's just a simple script executed perfectly. Roger Delgado immediately says he is the Master. I mean, he literally says this. One of his opening lines is, "I'm usually referred to as the Master, universally so." So, I mean, he's incredible in this story. Delgado, still to this day, is the most popular iteration of the character. I mean, he's a great iteration of the character. So, with the best back and forth between any Doctor Master combo when he shared the screen with Pertwee. But Pertwee himself is also incredible in the story. The Master was an unknown character at this point, but Pertwee makes you believe that they've known each other. So, I mean, everything about Terror of the Autons works, and I just think it's great. And actually, I think it's maybe a little underrated. People usually refer to Spearhead from Space, but I generally prefer Terror of the Autons. Number 4, The Caves of Andromeda. Yeah, I mean, a best Doctor Who episodes list cannot be complete without The Caves of Andromeda. I absolutely love this story. It's another great story for Generations. Not my favorite Regeneration story. We'll get to that one in a little bit. But Caves is truly incredible. It is the darkest story in the show's history. And it is just an incredible story. And on top of that, it's just amazing. It's bleak. The Doctor can't really do anything or save anyone. So he just has to accept the fact that ultimately he's useless in this story. He arrives, he sees what's going on, but ultimately he can't help anyone. He has to just escape. So, yeah, great story. Number 3, Empty Child, The Doctor Dances. Again, Eccleston is incredible here. And this has his most iconic moment in Everybody Lives, which with any other Doctor, I don't think that moment would land. But with Eccleston, and knowing what he went through, it just works. That moment of him just having this. He had to watch all of his race die. He had to watch all of the Time Lords die, or at least he believed that he did. And then in every story of his era, at least someone had died. And so him having this moment that, yeah, there's no casualties this time. It's great to see his reaction and his energy to this. And on top of that, I think this is Billy Piper's best episode. So it's just a great episode. And yeah, that's all I can really say about it. Number 2, The War Games. This is the best regeneration story. It's also the longest Doctor Who story I've ever watched. Depends on how you classify Trial of the Time Lord. But The War Games is incredible. 10 episodes goes by, and in my opinion, it has... Here's the thing. I think this is mainly looked at as Troughton's regeneration story, and while that works, I genuinely think it's underrated as a companion departure, because that's what it is. It's a departure story for Jamie and Zoe. And it is the saddest departure ever, because when they get their memories wiped, when Donna gets her memory wiped, she's dying, yes. But she gets her memory wiped to save her life. And that was the Doctor's decision. The War Games, the Doctor has nothing to do with it. Jamie and Zoe get punished because they knew the Doctor. They lose their memories of all but that one adventure they met the Doctor. It's just sad. To me, it's the saddest companion departure, because, I mean, most of the time, it's either the Doctor or the companion's decision to leave, if there's any decision. So, I mean, it's just sad that this is one instance where they don't want to break up the band, but they do, because they're being forced to. So, absolutely an incredible story, but it's not my number 1, because my number 1, Evil of the Daleks. I love Evil of the Daleks. This animation, I just want to start with the animation. It's incredible. It perfectly tells the story, and it's just an incredible animation. But for the story itself, it's great. 7 episodes, it goes by quickly. We have 3 different eras. We have 1960s, we have Maxtible's Mansion, and we have Scarrow. Pretty simple, right? Well, it's seamless, because it's all perfect in this story. Because the highlight moment of it all is that episode 6 cliffhanger, where they meet the Emperor Dalek. And that confrontation between the Doctor and the Emperor Dalek, if it existed, would be, I think, generally regarded as the best cliffhanger in the show's history. And the twist that leaves the story going into the final episode on, where the Emperor says, no, what you were working for this whole episode, this whole story, the human factor, is useless. It was just to show us the Dalek factor. And now you're going to use the TARDIS, you're going to take it through the history of Earth. It is absolutely incredible. And the Doctor just completely believes he's won up until that moment. It's incredible. And it's a great story. It was, I believe it was one of Patrick Troughton's favorites. It's incredible. And I think that most people prefer Power. But to me, I think Evil of the Daleks has better pacing, better action, better storytelling, better writing, and a more intimidating set of Daleks. Because I think David Whittaker is the best writer for the Daleks. I did not discuss Power on this list, but his treatment of the Daleks in there is incredible, and then he builds on that with Evil. So yeah, just incredible. Let me know if you'd like a full-on review of Evil of the Daleks, because that's something I've been considering for a while now. But anyway, there you have it. Several months have been building up to this. This whole series of Doctor Who list videos culminates here. What is your favorite Doctor Who story? You obviously know mine is Evil of the Daleks. Yeah, that's it for this video. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.